All right, it's, Current Events Tuesday. I don't know what we're going to call this yet, but we're going to talk about some things currently going on. Before we begin, my name is Justin.
And mine's JP.
And we are that's your handle?
That's my handle.
We are the Podcasting Dead. We talk about a little bit of this and that, obviously from the name, a bit of The Walking Dead, but as you can tell from this podcast, we are mixing it up a bit, so go ahead and hit that subscribe and like button for more content. JP, let's jump right into this. We're talking about desperate guys on social media.
Yeah, it's an alarming epidemic. I think that's probably why social media or social networking, whatever, was invented in the first place, to help
for lonely men.
Yeah, just desperate guys and ladies. Let's keep it 100 here. To trick someone into getting in their britches.
Right, yeah. Well, sadly, and it's not a sexist thing, just on my Facebook, the majority of desperate people posting desperate things, I'd say
they
for every...
are guys.
Right, out of every 10 people, 1 is a female, the other 9 are males, you know what I mean?
And I would say most females that get on there are griping about how shitty guys are in general,
right.
Or how shitty their man is.
Right, yeah, oh yeah, well...
So it's
and the girls that I know that do that, and again, I'm not slut-shaming, I think you should sleep with whoever you want
As
to,
do
but
I.
if you advertise that you, and I mean, this is guy or girl, you know what I'm saying? This isn't just a female thing. We apparently get accused of being sexist quite often by one particular listener. So yeah, I'm calling her out, but we're not at all. But the thing is, if you go around and just bang anybody that will bang you back, then don't get on Facebook and complain about, no one wanting to settle down, because that's kind of how I can't advertise. Because if someone advertises that they sell ice cream, I'm not going to go up and order a steak. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, now that is kind of the what I see on Facebook. But desperate guys on Facebook are the worst, or social media, they're the worst.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. It's like, my pal who got pinched for gunning somebody down a while back.
Oh, yeah.
Like
true story. JP has an old friend that just got arrested for blasting somebody at Dollar General.
Yeah, well, like his baby mama was constantly going on Facebook, like just running him up and down, like, calling him a meth head, saying how sorry he was, this, that, and the other. And but next thing you know, as soon as he gets pinched and he's looking at some time, honey,
right?
She goes up to the jailhouse and just marries him.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
she married him after he shot that dude.
Yeah, she. She just, she was salty more or less that he just, didn't want to. She's not the most attractive lady.
Thirsty people. Basically, the gist of all of this: thirsty people on social media. Just keep your thirst a secret.
like I've got one in front of me right now. It says, "So how or why in hell is it every good-looking nurse has a rock on their hands the size of Texas, and how do they get snatched up so quickly?" I guess that's. I think that's just a case of. Certain women having their life together, if there's a career,
right,
and, a healthy relationship, and not something to hate on. I mean, look, I went through a period in my life where I was very salty, just very resentful of other people's success or happiness. And that was like me.
I'm still going through that.
Yeah, I mean,
I just don't post about it on Facebook.
Yeah, we all experience that sometimes. But for a long time, I was projecting my own insecurities and, and failures on everybody. I was a real prick.
True. You were.
You got to just pull yourself up. Nobody can make your life better but you.
True.
And that's it.
Look at you being motivational, man.
I'm just saying, brother, whether it's in romance or career or whatever, man, it's,
You're right.
It is
so
what it is.
Before we get into the current events happening in today's world, let that be the lesson of today. Because no girl is scrolling through Facebook and thinks, oh, that guy's desperate. Look. Oh, poor thing. Let me show him that good girl. You know what I mean? Like, no, you just make yourself look sad and desperate when you post stuff like that.
Dude, there's quite a few on my Facebook, man. I've got one guy I went to school with. He's a meteorologist now. Like, smart, but very socially inept. And, like, his, what do you call it? Your status or your bio or whatever it says.
Right, yeah.
I'm a sweet, single Christian guy looking for the girl of my dreams.
Looking to mingle.
It's like a 31-year-old dude. Like I said, got a career, smart as a whip, but just never got the social skills.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, oh.
Well, let's get into the point of this podcast, current events. We're going to be talking about new things that we find on the interwebs that are happening in the world around you. So first, let's start it out with some happy news for hipsters, I guess. JP, you were a Pabst Blue Ribbon drinker, right?
I still get it sometimes. If it's on draft, I'll drink it.
I just am not big into Pabst Blue. No, it's just never been my thing. I remember a while the hipsters really got into it, and I say that not being mean, but like seriously, everyone I knew that drank Pabst Blue Ribbon were hipsters. It's like my dad was like, I'm blown away because when I was a kid, or when I was younger, it was mostly rednecks that drank it, and then somewhere along the line, hipsters got a hold of it. But anyways, Pabst Blue Ribbon is going to start selling whiskey. That's
really
only been aged for 5 seconds.
Oh, that sounds like aristocrat whiskey. It's not a good idea.
Yeah, they haven't really released any details, but the label had to be approved by the government, and it says aged 5 seconds in the upper right-hand corner.
Jeez.
Aged 5 seconds. Now, keep in mind, most whiskeys are aged in oak barrels for a lot longer than that. Like, we're talking years. So it's probably a white whiskey, which is basically like moonshine. But that's coming out from Pabst Blue Ribbon. Would you try it?
I mean, I'll try it,
Did you know that by law, whiskey has to be aged?
I didn't know that.
But there's no requirement for how long.
For how long? Well, I mean, isn't everything aged? I mean, there's got to be some, time before.
Right. Well, that's probably how Pabst is getting around that, is just by being like, oh, it is aged for 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's kind of the hook.
But yeah,
I don't know, man. Like, shitty beer is easier to drink than shitty liquor. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it really is. Like, shitty beer, after one or two, you kind of just like, Right. But shitty whiskey, man, just to get through that first drink is one of the hardest things you'll ever go through drinking-wise.
Yeah, as far as cheap beer goes, man, I came up on a Natural Light. And
Me too. Natural, yes.
Eventually, Natural Ice is my alcoholism, continued to snowball. But.
Right. Yeah, I came up on like Bud Light, Natural Light, and then I did have a little stint where we were drinking. Do you remember what is it called? Old Milwaukee.
Yeah, I've drinking that.
It's disgusting, but you could get 30 for 11. You could get a 30-pack for $11 back in the day. Man. So when you're 19 and not old enough to drink, and you've got to scrape together whatever money you can to get that guy to buy get your beer with, you just like, get me however much you can for this.
Yeah, dude. Same with Keystone, I think. You can get
Keystone's not terrible. It's very watered down.
Yeah. Yes.
I remember they used to have the coolest commercials, though. Was it Keith Stone? Is that his name?
Yeah. They had a great marketing campaign there for a while.
I had a friend that wanted to create a spoof character off of him named Keith Bone.
Oh, yeah?
And he was going to be like a porn guy. I can't remember. That was actually one of the first people I was ever going to podcast with, like 10, 11 years ago.
Good grief, man. That's like when podcasts were first coming around.
And I basically was just like, I don't even know if we called it podcasting then. I just know that I was like, well, we could just take a picture and we could do radio on the. I do radio. My radio career hadn't been but a couple of years in the process at that point. So, moving into celebrities, did you know Kanye West is contractually forbidden from retiring?
With who? Is this like a contract he has with the devil, or? I mean,
the way that Kanye acts, sometimes I do think that he has a contract with the devil. He's suing to try to get out of his deal with EMI as part of the case, but he submitted a clause from the contract that really just spells out how evil these entertainment companies can be. It says that Kanye must, quote, remain actively involved in writing, recording, and producing compositions and major label albums. He may not seek to retire as a songwriter, recording artist, or producer, or take any extended hiatuses during which he is not actively pursuing his musical career. It sounds pretty damn close to slavery to me.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, granted, yes, he's making millions and living this rich and lavish life, but I mean, regardless of that, still, I mean, to be told you can never stop working, which, I mean, did he not read the the fine lines of his contract?
I don't know, man, but he's definitely right about the entertainment industry just in general being an evil cesspool. I mean, look at all the women who've been sexually assaulted.
Right.
The sex trafficking.
Oh, it's horrible. Yeah, these I mean, I've seen conspiracy theories that say that Sony killed Michael Jackson.
Hey, man, I wouldn't doubt it. I think that Vince McMahon offed Chris Benoit. I think he's the one who blackmailed Hulk Hogan with him dropping the N-bomb and all this kind of
so?
Things. Yeah, oh yeah.
Could be, man. A lot of these big wigs are evil. I mean, like comic book villain evil.
Yeah.
But so that might be why Kanye was kind of obsessed with the subject of slavery for like a minute last year. I mean, maybe not, but I mean he did talk about that a lot. And let's face it, I mean, sometimes it's hard. Kanye West does a good job of making it hard to feel bad for him sometimes, just because of the stupid things he does and says. But at the same time, he is a human being. Mm-hmm. I have always said that I do kind of feel bad for Kanye. I feel like there's something under the surface that we're not aware of, because normal human beings just don't act the way that Kanye acts.
He's very eccentric.
So I've always said, be it a mental health thing, or maybe, and I'm not saying that in an insulting way, like maybe he has some kind of mental health issue, or there's maybe this is what's caused all of his outbursts and making him kind of seem a little loony, because he's got all of this weighing on him from behind the scenes. But I've always said I thought something was a little off with him.
Yeah, man. Or he's just like really, really, really deep into character. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of like Joaquin Phoenix. Remember, like for that full year where everyone thought he had lost his mind.
Oh yeah,
he was trying to rap and went on the late night show with Letterman and acted, and it broke my heart,
live, man.
I did
live,
too,
but I watched it as it happened. I was just like, "What?"
It broke my heart because he played Johnny Cash, and he was the guy in Gladiator, and he was in that movie Frailty. Like, I loved Joaquin Phoenix. He was in Signs. I was like, dude, this guy's such a good actor. And then that happened, and then luckily, thank God, a year later he comes out and was like, all right, all of that was just part of a mockumentary we were doing. And then he went back on Letterman because they had shown where he'd been on Letterman before and was just such a fun guest and was fun and engaging. And then, this time, he ended, David Letterman ended and was like, Joaquin, I'm sorry you couldn't be here tonight. And, but so, yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, you never know.
The California Labor Code says that personal service contracts can't last more than 7 years. Kanye has been with EMI since 2003. EMI has used various options to extend the contract over the years, but Kanye's had enough of that. So hopefully he can get out of that, because that just...
Man, he just needs to start his own label. That's what he needs to do.
Just let that be a sign, man. Read the fine print. And I mean, he might have and just not have thought much of it, because when we see those dollar bills, we don't really think of anything else. You know what I mean? We're like, oh, money. And that's it. Moving from, one more celebrity thing before we move into other stuff happening today. It's a sad news that 90210 star Luke Perry passed away. He was on Riverdale.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of the shows he was on.
I didn't either. Yeah. I knew who he was. Like, I've seen pictures of him in the past, but
I think I know him most from wasn't he on an episode of Family Guy? Like Meg's like a president of the Luke Perry fan club or something.
Was that it? Maybe.
I might be mistaken. Maybe. That sounds right.
He was like a huge heartthrob back around like the 90s. He was on Beverly Hills 90210. He had been on that for seasons. And then, like I said, he was on Riverdale. He's also, he was in Quentin Tarantino's upcoming movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, man, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, that's going to be, Yeah, so that was his final role. But yeah, so that's sad. I mean, at 52, that is young. 52 is young to be passing away. So he had a massive stroke and just never recovered. I remember when...
strokes are a scary thing.
They really are. They strike, it seems, without warning, and then they just... Oh, it's so bad. Lightening things up a little bit with some... I mean, I don't know what kind of news this would be, but did you... All right, so JP, obviously you love mayonnaise more than any other human being.
No. Oh, Jesus Christ. No.
JP hates mayonnaise. Let me clarify that. I'm being sarcastic. JP despises mayonnaise on a level to the point where I was like, maybe we could make a drive to where if we get 1 million subscribers on our channel...
Still wouldn't do it.
You'll eat a mayonnaise sandwich.
Nope. Still wouldn't eat mayonnaise on a sandwich, much less...
Right. When he said no, I'm like, well, what if we put mayonnaise on like a ham and cheese sandwich? Just a little bit of... He will not do it. So you're going to... But here's the thing. You love ketchup.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't go super heavy on it.
You don't love it like Ed Sheeran and have it tattooed on you, but you do enjoy it.
Yeah, it's my favorite condiment for sure. Close second would be A1 sauce.
Well, mayonnaise was one of my favorite condiments. I've kind of backed off of it a little bit in the years, but ketchup is yours. And so when they had the Heinz like mayo ketchup thing come out a while back, I was pretty happy because I do like mayonnaise and ketchup on my fries. I'm weird. I know. Whatever. JP found it to be disgusting, but you know what? There's been another team up.
Oh, God.
Are you ready for this?
I don't know that I am.
I don't know if you are. How about mayo must?
Jesus Christ. Nah.
A mayo mustard combo called Mayo Must. And they're doing a mayo barbecue sauce hybrid called Mayo-Q.
Oh, I hate it, man. One of my worst memories from childhood. Me and my buddy were fishing at just a park by the river. His mom brings us double cheeseburgers from Burger King. Like my favorite thing in the world. I'm so stoked. I'm really hungry. And I bite into it. And, Burger King doesn't put mayonnaise on their burgers unless you ask for it.
Right.
So just completely, unknowingly, unsuspectingly, I bite into this thing. And it's just fucking loaded with mayonnaise, man.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was awful.
Now I'm going to have to bleep that out.
What? Mayonnaise?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a dirty word.
No, the F word.
Why?
Those random Wednesdays is when we go unloaded. Today is a day where we just do.
You dropped the F-bomb on the Walking Dead podcast the other Monday.
I did, but I apologize for it. It wasn't the other Monday. It was yesterday.
Was it?
Yes, it was yesterday.
Oh, jeez.
Just like you used. Never mind. Anyways, but yeah, so I do eat mayonnaise and mustard on my hot dogs.
Yeah. To each his own, brother. To each his own.
So you wouldn't try it. You like mustard?
Yeah, I love mustard.
I know you like spicy mustard.
It's really just white condiments, man. I don't get down with ranch, which if ranch is on something with like a buffalo sauce or hot sauce, it cancels it out, so I can deal with that. But I don't do yum-yum. I just white condiments, man. They just don't appeal to my palate.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their the things they do and don't love.
Yeah, ketchup and mayonnaise. It always reminds me of that scene in Dodgeball where dude's like, we can sell our blood and semen. And everybody's like, huh? He's like, not mixed together. That's what it reminds me of. One's white and one's red.
Really gross.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. I do like mayonnaise and mustard. I like mayonnaise, mustard, chili, and hot sauce on my hot dog. So
that's fully loaded.
And if I eat a barbecue sandwich, I do like mayo on there with the barbecue sauce. So I'm actually pretty thrilled about all of this, but apparently I'm the only one.
Yeah, only one in this room anyway.
And moving on into some, I guess, good news. An 88-year-old guy out in Minnesota is about to retire for the second time in his life. He used to work in a factory, and then he retired around 60. Took a job working at a drive-thru at McDonald's and loved it and did it for another 29 years.
Well, how do you like that?
So, I mean, this dude has spent his entire life working.
I'm going to say, some people just like staying busy.
I think that'll be me. I think when I get older...
but come on, you're not going to go to a McDonald's or a Walmart, or you're not going to be like.
I'm not going to go anywhere like food service customers.
Yeah.
Like I just don't. I love people, but I hate dealing with them in that capacity because people are assholes.
Like a little like production company or something.
Right? Yeah. No, I'll keep working in that regard, but.
Yeah.
But so JP, moving on. Let me ask you something. What do you think of astrology?
I think it's interesting. I don't really put much stock into it, but.
Well, apparently a third of people do, believe it or not.
No.
More than 24,000 people were asked if they thought astrological signs matched up to a person's personality, and 32% of people said yes. 52% said no, and 16% said they were kind of unsure.
I mean, I read something somewhere that just since all that stuff was like made up, the scenery in the sky or the trajectory of the Earth or something has shifted enough to where like that stuff doesn't even match up with your birthday anymore. I don't know.
So you're talking about they created these like personality profiles off of your birthday and constellations so long ago that we've moved,
right?
And the Earth shifted or whatever, and that we don't even that's not even matching.
Yeah, I want to say you remember that old Penn and Teller show where they just refute all this different stuff?
Oh yeah,
I want to say I saw it on that show. They were doing one on astrology, and we're just like, this stuff doesn't even coordinate,
They were on an issue of Deadpool Spider-Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like 2-3 years ago. It's Deadpool, that Deadpool Spider-Man comic they have going. Mm-hmm. It was a Penn and Teller issue. That's one of the last issues I read before I unsubscribed to it.
Yeah, I wonder if they're even doing anything nowadays.
Who, Spider-Man, Deadpool, or Penn and Teller?
Penn and Teller.
I'll say Spider-Man and Deadpool still have their comic running, but Penn and Teller, I don't know. Moving on to a little bit of dumb criminal news, I guess is what you would classify this as. And keep in mind, we're going to format this a little bit better, but this is just us. We usually only, if we talk about things happening in the real world, it's just The Walking Dead. So we're just kind of looking around the web, pulling stories, and just talking about things, which I guess I should start citing my sources here. So this is coming to us from Fox News, and hang tight. By the end of the episode, I'll make sure I go back and cite all my sources. We're new to this, okay? We're not trying to rip nobody off. But we will format it a little bit better and stuff. But this is coming from Fox News and CBS 5, so 58, excuse me. I don't know, man. If this happened on like April Fool's Day, people might know that it's a prank. But any other time of the year, you'll definitely kind of get people suspicious. There was a woman in Wisconsin named Molly who was at work late last month and asked her neighbor if he'd let her dogs out. And he said, sure. And he knew she'd see him on her security cameras, which I need to get some of those because I had somebody go into my truck recently. So he decided to have some fun with it by dressing up in a panda costume.
Okay.
Molly watched it later and thought it was funny, but someone else who was watching it nearby thought that he was a burglar and it called 911. They said a giant teddy bear was robbing someone's house, and by the time the guy walked out in his costume, there were half a dozen cops pulling up. Luckily, they realized that he wasn't a burglar, and that was the end of it, but they just released the 911 audio, and I don't know the guy's name because he's done every single interview in a panda costume. So this guy, you talking about committed to a role?
What's that group of people who like to dress up as stuffed animals and have sex with each other?
Furries.
Right. Yeah.
Something I'm surprised, quite honestly, you're not into. I mean, not that I think you want to have sex with animals, but just the thought of you and your girlfriend dressing up in weird animal costumes.
Dude, I'm hairy enough to where like I already feel like an animal, and like it would. I just feel like it gets so hot, you know.
Yeah, and those costumes,
Yeah,
and you're all. So you might just take the thermostat and turn it down. You know?
I don't know, man. It would be too much for me.
I don't know. Some people are into that, man. Some people are really into some out there stuff. So I guess this is, I don't want to call this karma, but I found this story here on ESPN, I guess you could say. But so all right, there's a UFC fighter named Johnny Walker, and he won his bout on Saturday with a TKO, a technical knockout in 36 seconds, which is pretty impressive. And he was celebrating by doing the worm dance. You remember the worm dance?
I remember.
Well, he landed wrong and he dislocated his shoulder. So you win the fight, and then you hurt yourself by celebrating. That is my luck. You know what I mean? Like I'm not allowed to get cocky at any point in my life, or some stuff like that happens.
Yeah, you know my buddy Josiah. Same thing happened to him in high school. He scored a goal in soccer, did a cartwheel, broke his leg bone or something.
Oh wow, he got off way worse than this guy.
Yeah,
so Josiah scored a goal,
did a cartwheel,
tried to do a cartwheel to celebrate, and then broke his leg.
Yeah, it was like one of the isn't there like two bones in your like the bottom part of your leg or something?
I know you have the shin bone here.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe.
But yeah, it wasn't the femur. It's where you have to like wear a boot kind of thing. I don't know. But I laughed about that for quite a while.
Ow.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll wrap this up with a story that I found. I just smacked the microphone on the smoking gun. Oh boy, this is as someone who's about to have a kid, I'm gonna tell you, I will not tolerate no bull crap like this.
Uh-oh.
So it can be hard to bond with your step parents, right? JP, did your mom ever date anybody or marry anybody after your dad?
She wasn't married, but she had the same boyfriend. He lived with us for at least a good 10 years. So,
did you guys get along?
I've been in that boat. Yeah, I mean, you do kind of resent, the guy who's banging out your mom that's not your dad. But
right.
More or less, I mean, he would let me rent WWF pay-per-views and...
Score, right?
Yeah, man. That
made it a little bit easier.
It was a mixed bag.
Right, understandable. Yeah. So y'all got along better than this. A teenager in Wisconsin is facing charges after he repeatedly spiked his stepfather's energy drinks with, get this, cow tranquilizers.
What?
Yeah, the kid's name is Tyler, and he's either 16 or 17, depending on which news source you believe, and his stepdad is a dairy farmer.
Okay.
And so that's why they had the, cow. Because, I mean, that's kind of something you would be thinking, like, yeah, right. Like, where do you just go and buy cow tranquilizers?
So I know, like, ketamine, that's what, cat tranquilizer, maybe?
Yeah, I've never tranquilized a cat, so I do not know.
But, I mean, that's like a popular street drug, ketamine. Special K, a lot of people call it.
Oh, is it?
I've never done it, but,
I'm just not on these streets enough.
Yeah.
But so early last year, Tyler started squirting the liquid tranquilizer into his, and it's not funny. You should never do this to anybody, but being his stepdad's okay, and they found and stopped the problem. I feel like I can kind of laugh at it a little bit. The first time he did it, his stepdad started stumbling around, slurring his speech, and had trouble breathing. I just, I feel like we shouldn't laugh. I'm just thinking of Will Ferrell and what was that movie? Where they were in college, or they went back to college.
School?
Old School, where he gets hit with the trinks, and he's like,
oh, yeah. It's been a long time.
And the guy that plays Stifler, he's, dude, that is awesome.
Yeah.
You're crazy. You're crazy. That's what I'm imagining was happening when this kid spiked it. But it was actually really scary and ended up going to the hospital, so it's really not that funny. But doctors told him it was probably from stress, a lack of sleep, and from having too many energy drinks. I can tell you right now, if I have one energy drink, and I still drink it for some stupid reason, they do make me lightheaded. I get confused easy. Like, they really mess with me. It's hard to explain what they do to my body, and I probably should never drink one again. But so I get that. But his symptoms came back a few months later, and then he found 2 used syringes in the corner of a barn.
Whoa.
And realized that Tyler had been poisoning him. I'm glad that his first thought wasn't that Tyler was doing heroin.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, that's, I would think, I guess when you're a dairy farmer, you think different. My girlfriend, they were Black Friday shopping maybe, or they were doing some kind of shopping recently and found straight up like a heroin setup.
Jesus. I thought you were going to say they were doing some kind of intravenous drug. I was going to be like, oh,
no,
not see that coming.
No. But she has a picture of it. It was like a syringe and like a spoon and like a thing to tie. It was crazy.
Yeah, man, it's wild. In California, like the health department will actually give drug users free brand new syringes. The idea was it would, kind of curb the spread of stuff like HIV and hepatitis. But from what I understand, it's actually made it worse. Intravenous drug use.
Well, that's an interesting question. So, do you think that handing out free condoms brings because that's kind of the same idea, right? It was like handing out free condoms in order to stop the spread of STDs. And I used to, I guess I still am of the thought process that people are going to have sex. Why not just make sure they're doing it safe? And I still feel that way. But do you think that having the resources there available can increase the urge to do it? So all you got to do is go down to the health department. I don't know where it is here, but in my town, 30 minutes down the road, you go to the health clinic, man, they'll hand you a brown bag full of condoms.
Yeah, man, I'm all for giving away free condoms. And I don't know, like I said, if people are going to be shooting up anyway, it seems like providing clean needles would be smart. But at the end of the day, I don't know.
Right. I mean, they're not providing the heroin, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good, I don't know, that's a good thought. What do you think?
From what I understand, it's kind of had the reverse effect that they were hoping. It's just kind of, I don't know.
Let us know what you think in the comments. That's an interesting talk subject there. Does it, do you think that it, because I don't know. I don't deal in heroin or really many drugs, so I don't know anything about any of that. So I really can't speculate on it. But that is interesting. You would think that it would, it's kind of like what was it? Around here they released, They released coyotes to control the rabbit population because rabbits were destroying crops and stuff for farmers. And then the coyotes got out of hand, so they released bears.
Yep.
And then bears got out of control. So I guess next, they're going to release man-bear pigs?
Like velociraptors?
Right.
I don't know.
That's the next logical step. Velociraptors, right. Yeah. I mean, what could go wrong?
Yeah.
I don't know that relates to the drugs, but I'm just saying, sometimes you do something to help and it just ends up having the complete opposite effect of,
Dakota the Dancing Bear was on heroin.
I don't even know who Dakota the Dancing Bear is.
It's a David Allan Coe song.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, JP is quite the country music fanatic, for those that don't know.
Yeah, it's weird that we were able to connect the dots on that.
So going back before we close out, because I want to cite my sources, because again, we're new to this kind of like bringing you news stuff. So I mean, I want to make sure that we give credit where credit's due. Care 11 is where I got the story about the 88-year-old guy retiring for the second time. The Kanye West thing I found on the Hollywood Reporter. And what else did we talk about? Pabst Blue Ribbon. Let's see where that came from. I got that from brobible.com.
Oh.
Luke Perry, I don't know where I found that, but I mean, it wasn't really anything specific. That was just talking about. Let's talk about the Heinz Mayo Ketchup. And I promise this will be organized. Stick with us with this podcast. This is just kind of an experiment. We wanted to kind of hit some current events here. I got that from delish.com. And one more story that I want to read before we go, because I find this to be extremely fascinating, from ladders.com. So did you know, JP, that ordering dessert first can help you lose weight?
Yeah, how does that work?
Well, apparently, researchers monitored what people ate in cafeterias and like changed up how the desserts were offered. Sometimes people would eat their desserts first before they grab their meal. Sometimes they made them grab it after their meal. This doesn't sound kind of like, it's like they just had these people in there and they're like, you will eat your dessert when we tell you. But over the course of 4 days, 70% of people consumed fewer calories when they ordered their desserts first, sometimes a lot less calories. One of the options was cheesecake, which I'm a sucker for cheesecake, man.
I don't really go in for it.
You don't like cheesecake?
It's not my thing, man.
Man, no kidding. So you just don't really like cream cheese?
No, I think it's like a consistency thing, you know.
That could be. Some people are freaked out by it. You know, like with me when I was a kid. I didn't mind the taste of onions and peppers. I just didn't like the texture of them.
Same here.
And mushrooms. I never minded mushroom flavored anything. It's just like cream of mushrooms, delicious. It's just that it just felt like I was eating a slimy slug.
Weird, squishy thing. Yeah.
So I can understand the texture, consistency of something can really deter you. It's like coconut. Love the flavor, hate the consistency.
I don't like anything about coconut.
But apparently, with the option being cheesecake, when people ordered it first, they consumed an average of 250 fewer calories compared to when they ordered it after their meal. They say the reason why this happened is it all comes down to our psychology. So everyone knows dessert isn't very healthy. And when we indulge at the beginning of a meal, we compensate by ordering less of everything else. So, but I mean, I wonder how long that would last. Right now, we feel that way because for our entire life, it's just been customary to order your dessert after your meal. So I wonder if we got to the point where we started eating desserts before meals, if that just got to be normal, then will we just go back to eating everything?
I don't know, man. That doesn't make any sense to me. I like balancing out. You know, you eat all this food and then you have
like you reward yourself.
A nice little sweet treat. You know, just the sweetness. Like I said, just kind of balances out. You know, all this.
It's funny. It's funny to get into like the psychology of why we do some of the things we do. Like particularly like that. Like I wonder if the reason why, like with me, when I eat, like if I cook especially, and I cook like a big steak and some, string beans and potatoes, and we eat and we're full. I still go over to the cabinet and grab myself a Little Debbie cake. More particularly Swiss cake rolls, my favorite.
I like those too.
I get those. And even though I'm full, I eat them. But it's almost because like when we were kids, our moms would be like, if you finish the rest of your macaroni and cheese or you finish the rest of that whatever, I'll give you, like it was given to us as a reward.
Right.
So now as an adult, it's almost like we reward ourselves. Yeah. With that, it's interesting to think about it like that. Like what makes us do that? You know what I mean? But yeah, so those are some current things that we found on the interwebs. Again, any suggestions are welcome. We're just kind of learning how to do this. We want to do something a little different than just getting on here and yapping about nothing or yapping about The Walking Dead. So we decided we would start trying to go on the internet at the beginning of the day and find some random stories that were trending and then share them with you. Yeah. And so this will, we'll come out with more of a format. I want to split them up. I want to give JP a few things that he covers each week, maybe like dumb criminals or drug news. I don't know. Whatever.
Why do I get the drug news?
Because you usually are the one
drugs.
giving me the drug news.
Yeah, I do love drugs.
But, we want to do something. So we will try to format that just a little bit better. Don't forget, tomorrow is Random Rambling Wednesdays. That is where we get on here and quite literally talk about absolutely nothing.
Man, I can't wait.
That's JP's favorite. And he's allowed to cuss all he wants.
Talk about
drugs,
anything.
Sex. Lots of conversation about sex, I would say, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I got some interesting stuff to bring up tomorrow. Some stuff I've been pondering.
Some sex stuff?
Sort of.
Sort of sex stuff coming
just
from
stuff,
JP.
It could almost fit into both podcast categories. Just it is kind of topical. It is kind of sexual. It's just stuff I've been hearing about. Different mediums. And
well, I'm very interested to hear that. So that'll
ruffle some feathers, maybe. I don't know.
Oh Lord. The chickens don't get to moving if you don't ruffle the feathers, right?
That's right.
I don't even. That's not even a thing. I just made that up, but it makes sense, right?
I was gonna say that sounds like
that sounds legit, right? I just made that up, unless it is a real thing that I've heard and forgot that I heard, and it's just lived in the back of my mind for all these years. I don't know. Anyway, so please, if you enjoyed this, I'm not sure why you did, but if you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure to hit the little notification beside the subscribe button so that you get notified when we post new content. We post several times a week. If you're listening on SoundCloud, make sure to follow us. And I think that's all you have to do on SoundCloud. I think SoundCloud's a little simpler. We will be on iTunes soon, of course, free. You can just download it and take it with you anywhere. Like if you don't want to use your internet going down the road, and because we've had a few people that say they listen on the way to work, you could download it to iTunes for free. Yep. And then you could just listen to it without using your data once you leave the house. So hopefully that'll be on the way. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Mine is I'm Justin Lloyd, just all lowercase, no apostrophe, no nothing, just I'm Justin Lloyd with 2 L's in Lloyd. You can find me on Periscope, on Snapchat, and on Instagram. And I don't Periscope much, but I'm going to get into that. JP is big into Periscope.
Oh, I really hadn't been doing anything social media wise lately.
Really?
But I just got a tripod, so I am going to start getting back on a Periscope, I hope.
I say for a while, when you first got it, you were like on there at least a couple times a week.
Yeah, man, it's just been kind of my just busy, just too busy to mess with it. But
right.
And Snapchat, man, I ain't been other than just like direct.
When I Snapchat you,
yeah, and like our buddy in England, Dan Ashdown, me and him, swap
he's
snaps
been
every now and then.
Yeah,
he had a good idea for our fan community. What do you call them? Deadcasters?
Yeah, he sent me that too.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Better than anything I've come up with so far.
He loves to text me, Snapchat me, and we'll go through the time differences between England and here, because over there it'll be like 2 o'clock in the morning. He's been getting kicked out of bars because he's staying there too late. And I'm like, dude, it's like 7 o'clock here. We're just trying to figure out where we're going tonight, and your night's pretty much over.
Yeah, cool guy.
But yeah, so follow us. We do respond. I mean, we're definitely... try to be responsive and leave a comment, all that good stuff. I'm trying to make sure again, this is a new experience, this type of podcast. So we'll get it down. We'll probably get some categories. I want to get some intros going.
Ooh.
Like dumb criminal news, and then like maybe food news. Maybe
you've got a good dumb criminal intro. It's got the station name.
It got arrested. It got erased.
What?
I don't know who. Yeah, somebody erased it. I had this awesome dumb criminal.
That was so tight.
It was. I spent time producing this. I had this awesome, because the sheriff here in our town comes in every Friday and talks to me on my station, talks to JP on his station, and he does dumb criminal news with us. And I had this really, really dope bed where it was like, I fought the law and the law won. And it had like sirens and music and all these different sound effects from different movies. And I had an awesome outro, and it was awesome. And somebody just deleted it.
That
I think
sucks,
I know,
dude.
I think I know who did. I'm not saying it was on purpose, but I think I know who did.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it is gone, and I am sad.
Yeah, man, me too.
But but yeah, so maybe we'll like give JP dumb criminal news or whatever. JP actually really is into food, so I mean maybe you could have like food news.
Yeah, I'd like that.
We'll try to find like one. We'll try to sit down and come up with like different categories, and each week we'll have a story to fit into that category. You know what I mean?
Sir.
So fun things on the way. Again, Random Rambling Wednesday tomorrow. On Thursday, mail call. We'll answer your questions. I don't think we're doing anything on Friday. It's a day when we can rest. And then we'll be back on Monday also with the Walking Dead episode 13 review and discussion. Anything else to leave them with before we head out?
Nah, man, I'm starting to space out. We should wrap it up.
Well, that's I can always watch JP. It's kind of like when you have that one friend you can tell when they're drunk or when they're messed up. Like I can just look at JP and tell
I'm literally just sliding.
He needs to be put down for a nap.
Yeah, I really do, man.
Kind of like when a parent's like, "Oh, ignore him. He needs a nap." It's like I can look and be like, "All right, time to go put JP down for a nap." We'll catch you tomorrow for the Random Rambling Wednesday. I'm Justin,
and I'm JP,
and we are the Podcasting Dead.